Kashitale, today is the very special day, the full moon day of the Sagatawa. And for that reason, I would like to wish you all a very happy Sagatawa again. And today, as you can see, I have my shrine as a background. So for you to pay homage to in this very auspicious day of Sagatawa, the full moon day of Sagatawa. And today will be our last day of Dharma sharing. And for that reason, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Venerable Lama LODRO and the entire members of Thangpo Dharma Society, and also those volunteers who have been working so hard behind the scene to make this teaching, Dharma sharing possible. And I also feel very fortunate that I was able to share some of Dharma knowledge from my own understanding, and with the blessings of my root guru, the very venerable Khenpo Thangpo Rinpoche, and all my teachers when I was studying at the Sheta, and because of their kindness, I am able to get some information, some kind of contemplation of the Dharma that I'm able to share with you today over these few weeks. And today we'll be again try to understand more about cultivations of this very wonderful, precious bodhicitta, which is the foundation and cause for the attainment of enlightenment. Because as we know now that there are different types of bodhicitta. So yesterday we understood that there are 22 different types of bodhicittas. The bodhicitta that give rise at the very beginning when someone enters into the Mahayana vehicle, and from there until the attainment of enlightenment. So there are different types of bodhicitta according to different realizations and different attainment of different levels in the path of liberation. And also, generally speaking, there are two types of bodhicitta. So we should remember this, recall the understanding of bodhicitta. There are two different types of bodhicitta. One is known as the relative bodhicitta, and other one is known as the ultimate bodhicitta. The ultimate bodhicitta itself is the Dharmakaya, the attainment of perfect enlightenment. But we cannot actualize that as for now, because we are just beginner, and we need to enter into the path. This is the very path that will lead us to that perfections of ultimate bodhicitta. So in order to actualize this, we need to rely upon relative bodhicitta, which is up to aspirations bodhicitta and engage bodhicitta or action bodhicitta. So we need to understand what kind of bodhicittas are there, what is the essence of this bodhicitta, how one can, really receive these bodhicittas, how one can cultivate these bodhicittas. So there are different means and ways how one can actually actualize these bodhicittas into the path of liberation. So without wasting much time, we try to understand more about the actual ceremony, how one really receives these bodhicitta vows. So after receiving these bodhicitta vows, one can really, progress in the path of Mahayana vehicle for the benefit of oneself and others. So before we continue today's lesson, I would like all of you to remember that the very essence of bodhicitta is that to have such kind of genuine wish to attain perfect and complete enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. So this should be our objective. Sentient beings, benefiting sentient beings, and attainment of or attaining the perfect and complete enlightenment. So these are very important. So you should always remember this. Once you remember this, then you know kind of what does really bodhicitta means. Okay, so before we start today's lesson, we should give rise to bodhicitta and also to take refuge in three jewels. Sangye Jodan Zoge Jonam La Jangju Bardo Dane Gap Songje Dagi Jin So Gebe Sonam Ge Dola Bejer Sangye Drobarsho Sangye Jodan Zoge Jonam La Jangju Bardo Dane Gap Songje Thagi jinso gebe sonam ge dola benje sange do barasho sange chodan so ge chonam la changcho bardo dani gyap sonje dagi jinso gebe sonam ge dola benje sange do barasho sange chodan so ge chonam la changcho bardo dani gyap sonje dagi jinso gebe sonam ge dola benje sange do barasho Semjen tamje dewa dan dewe gyo dan dempara gyo je dungan dan dungan ge gyo dan dewa gyo je dungan mebe dewa dan ba dan me dewa gyo je ngiren cha dan ge dan de dan nyum chen bo la ne para gyo je semjen tamje dewa dan dewe gyo dan dempara gyo je dungan dan dungan ge gyo dan dewa gyo je dungan mebe dewa dan ba dan me dewa gyo je Giren Jadang Yadang Deven, Dang Yon Jimbola, Nebara Giroje, Zemjen Damje, Dewa Dan Deve, Yodan Dembara Yuje, Dungan Dan Dungan Ye, Yodan Dewa Yuje, Dungan Beben, Dewa Damba Dan Bedawa Yuje, Giren Jadang Yadang Deven, Dang Yon Jimbola, Nebara Giroje, Golden Save Lama Rimboche, Dagi Churu Pemin Deshola, Kadin Jimbo Gonen Jason De, Gozon to Gengo Doen Zando. Okay, so this cultivations of bodhicitta is the antidote to not knowing the how one can cultivate enlightened mind. So for those individuals who don't know the method of how to cultivate this enlightened mind, so in order to dispel their ignorance and in order to make them knowledgeable about this, so GAMPOPA is talking about the importance of cultivation of bodhicitta and how one can cultivate bodhicitta. So to present this chapter, GAMPOPA mentioned there are different types of topic in order to really truly understand this chapter of cultivations of bodhicitta. And the first of this different chapter, different topic was the foundation. So what is the perfect foundation for someone to cultivate bodhicitta is that someone has to have some sense of concern for others' well-being. Otherwise, it is very hard to cultivate enlightened mind or bodhicitta. And second thing is that someone has to has gone refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, or someone who has already taken the refuge vows. So these are the different types of foundation. And the next one is someone has to kept one of the 7 patimoksha vows. So patimoksha, as it literally means towards the realizations or towards the liberation. So if you want to go towards the liberation, freeing from yourself from the suffering of samsara, so this is the method how you can. So by giving any one of these 7 patimoksha precepts is one way of doing so. So if you are monastic, you have different vows, different precepts to give. If you are lay, you also have a different precepts you can undertake in order to protect yourself from the falling into the suffering of samsara and to progress your practice in the path of liberation. And so these are the different types of foundation one must need before cultivating the precious bodhicitta. So as we all are have already entered into the gate of Dharma and have this taken refuge in 3 jewels, and some of you also may have taken the patimoksha vows. But having said that, so as we spoke about some kind of clarification there GAMPOPA makes is that even though if you have not taken the patimoksha precepts according to hearer's vehicle, but if you have this kind of genuine wish to attain perfect and complete enlightenment for the benefit of others, so this is already a good enough to be able to give rise to of the bodhicitta or cultivating the mind of enlightenment. And the second among these different topic was the essence of bodhicitta. So what is the essence of bodhicitta? Again, a genuine wish to attain complete and perfect Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. Then we have these classifications of bodhicitta, which yesterday we spoke about 22 different types of bodhicitta, and also there are different types of bodhicitta according to the different levels in the through the path, following the path that leads us to the enlightenment. So this is known as demarcations of bodhicitta, different types of bodhicitta according to the demarcations of practice. Then we have this primary characteristics. According to their primary characteristics, there are two different types of bodhicitta: ultimate bodhicitta and relative bodhicitta. And ultimate bodhicitta, what is ultimate bodhicitta? It is the attainment of enlightenment, or the realizations of ultimate truth, which is known as emptiness or dharmakaya. And the next is the relative bodhicitta. And relative bodhicitta is the vows that kind of genuine wish to attain enlightenment for the benefit of others by taking the kind of bodhisattva vows from your spiritual master. So it comes through ceremony. So relative bodhicitta comes through the help of others, like attending spiritual masters and listening to his instructions, and also seeing the suffering of others, sentient beings, that really wanting, really wanting to free the suffering of other sentient beings, taking their suffering as your own suffering, all this kind of genuine wish of benefiting others. Likewise, so you have also instructions from the Dharma. By understanding, these instructions, you also give rise to bodhicitta, relative bodhicitta. So these two bodhicitta, two different types of bodhicitta. And then we have this objective of bodhicitta. So your objective of bodhicitta should be attainment of enlightenment and the benefiting sentient beings. Then we have the cause for cultivating bodhicitta. There are different causes for cultivating bodhicitta, and some are by seeing the suffering nature of sentient beings. Some are by seeing the beneficial effects of bodhicitta. Some are by seeing the good qualities of your spiritual masters or spiritual friends who have been already, generating bodhicitta, who is already practicing action bodhicitta of 6 paramitas and so forth. So with their inspiration, by seeing their inspiration, you also want to give rise to bodhicitta. So there are different types of cause for our one to give rise to cultivations of bodhicitta. Then we have this: from whom you receive this bodhicitta, the spiritual masters, without or with the spiritual masters that we spoke of yesterday. Then the next method, the topic is the method how one can really take or receive bodhicitta vows. So today we are going to talk about the method of how one can receive bodhicitta vows. So I'm going to read the method or the ceremony. There are multiple systems of instructions from the lineage of great scholars according to how one can receive bodhicitta vows. But mainly there are two systems which GAMPOPA will present here. The system according to the lineage of Shantideva, the system according to the lineage of Dharmakriti. So what is the lineage of Shantideva? Shantideva's lineage is that Shantideva's lineage which comes from Nagarjuna and which is founded by Manjushri. Then Dharmakriti's lineage is that he received these teachings from Asanga and which was founded by Arya Maitreya. So there are two different types of tradition of receiving bodhicitta vows. So we are going to talk about the Shantideva tradition. The follower of Kagyu lineage traditionally has been following these traditions of Shantideva. Okay, so in Shantideva's tradition, which comes from Nagarjuna and founded by Arya Manjushri, there are three different types of presentations of this ceremony: the preparation part, the actual ceremony, and the conclusion. So for the preparation part, what we need to have during the preparation part, we need to practice 7 branches practice. We remember we should do 7 branches prayers, like prostrations, offering, confessions, and then rejoicing in someone's good deeds, then requesting the Buddhas and teachers to turn the well of the Dharma for the benefit of sentient beings. And then we have this beseeching Buddhas and teachers not to, go into parinirvana, but remain in samsara for the benefit of all sentient beings. And then finally we have this dedication prayers. So these are known as 7 branch prayers or practices. But here GAMPOPA mentions only 6 of them. So we already imagine that we already practiced the first part, which is the prostration part. So what is the meaning of prostration practice? Why it is important to do prostrations before your spiritual masters or your shrine or to the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha? It is because you recollecting their kindness, their qualities, so you really pay respect to them. That's one reason. And second reason is to cut down your ego clinging or your pride. So minimizing your pride. So therefore you are bowing down your forehead and your whole body in front of spiritual masters and those spiritual beings. And the second one is the offering. So here it starts from offering, making offerings. So why we need to make offering is because in order to accumulate merits, we need to make offerings. And the practice of making offerings, it has also meaning, special meaning. And what is the meaning of practicing generosity and offering is to minimize our avarice or stinginess. So we're too stingy, and we don't want to lose our wealth and belongings. So in order to cut that down, in order to antidote of that is to practice generosity and offerings. So in the offering, we can offer any kind of items, those who shall not belong to anyone else, any individual. So different kinds of offerings like flowers and incense, jewels, gold, silver, whatever one can offer, clothes, food, whatever one have in your capacity, you make offerings to the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, or to your spiritual masters. And there are some different kinds of offering which are greater than those kind of offering, but which do not belong to anyone, like sun and moon and all these Mount Merus, different types of universe. So we also do imaginations in this kind of things in our mandala offering practice, isn't it? So this kind of offering you can do in order to purify your obscurations and in order to accumulate merits. So this is another way of practicing accumulations of merit and pacifying your obscurations. Then we have this confession. Why it is important to practice this particular practice of confession is because if you do not confess or if you do not purify your shortcomings or wrongdoings or non-virtuous acts or evil deeds, whatever you want to call them, but if you do not purify them, then it slowly, you can see the maturations of that act, and as a result of that, you have to experience those suffering as a result. So before we experience those things, it is right time for now, before they maturize or mature, then we need to purify those things. So if the very right number of antidote is applied, then once misdeed or evil deeds can be purified. As I mentioned a few days back, the non-virtuous action has only one good quality, that is that it can be purified if you apply antidotes or purification part. So that's why confession is a very important part here. So generally speaking, both virtuous and non-virtuous entirely depends on one's mental motivation, isn't it? Because as we know that mind is like a king, and both our speech and bodily actions are like servant. We listen to our mind. Whatever our mind directs us, we just express them through verbally and physically. So that's therefore, if you want to train somebody, that is the mind that we need to train. If you train our mind, then we'll be safe. If you divert your mind into positive directions, then we are safe. So therefore, it is very important that to remember this, that we have the control of our act. You should be the authority for your own act. So usually what happens is that we act spontaneously, whatever thought comes into our mind, without being mindful, without having awareness. So because of that reason, we commit lots of unfortunate acts or unvirtuous acts through our body and speech. So therefore, now since we know some Dharma, we need to understand that we have the control over our emotions. We have the control over our acts of body and speech. So therefore, it is very important that one must understand this. And if you have noticed that you have something wrong, something that was not right, and you have committed that, you have committed some wrong non-virtuous act, then right away what you need to do is you need to apply the antidote of purification. And here GAMPOPA mentions more about purification part here. So when the mind is ruled by afflicting emotions of desire, aversion, and ignorance, the non-virtuous, usually the 10 non-virtuous act will take place. As it said in the Precious Jewel Garland Sutra, desire, aversion, ignorance, and all the karma created thereby are non-virtuous. All sufferings come from non-virtue and also do the lower realms. So because of that reason, all the sufferings in the samsara, and especially the suffering of 3 lower realms, comes from our act of non-virtuous. And so because of that reason, so we need to purify them before they mature, before they give rise to their result. So therefore, one should declare and purify of one's negative karma or non-virtuous act. So then you may wonder, is it possible to purify our negative karma? And the answer is yes, definitely you can. And how? Through the 4 doors of powers. Through the 4 doors of power. So I'm confused, little bit confused of that. 4 doors of powers. So if you apply those 4 doors of powers of antidote, then you can purify all your non-virtuous acts. And what are those? So there's a quote from the showing the 4 Dharma Sutra. It says, Maitreya, when the Bodhisattva Mahasattva possesses the 4 powers, then the evil deeds and their accumulations of the act will be defeated by them. And what are they? They are known as the power of remorse, second power of antidote, third power of resolve, and finally the power of reliance. So these 4 powers are very, very important in order to purify your negative karma. And the first one is the power of remorse, or you can call this the power of regret. So once you have committed non-virtuous acts, then first thing what you need to do is you need to aware of it. You need to see them as fault. You need to see your fault as faulty. If you don't see your fault as negative or non-virtuous, then there's no way that you can generate remorse or regret of your act. So first thing is awareness of whatever your act was. So you really feel that, oh, I should not have done that. Oh, that was not right. So, but because of my negative influences of non-afflicted emotions, I committed it. But now I really feel that I should not have done that. So this kind of remorse and regret should take place from bottom of your heart. So that remorse or kind of regret shouldn't be artificial, but genuine, which really comes from your heart, and not by force of other sentient beings, but you really realizing your fault as fault, and then you really want to purify them. So this is the first power. If you have this, then there's another possibilities later on, different methods that you can apply. Otherwise, if you have not have this kind of first power of remorse or regret, then there's no possible one can purify their own karma, their negative karmas. So first one is the power of regret. and then able to declare, not hiding, but declare in front of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, or in front of your spiritual master, or in front of your spiritual friends, saying that, oh, I have done this non-virtuous act, and which I should not have, but I have done it. So I really feel regret about my act, and I want to purify. So this is the first power. Then second power is, after that, the method is you can apply the antidotes, and the best antidote is the applications of virtuous act. Then what we can do is we can practice different types of sutras, or we can recite different types of mantras, 100 syllable mantras, or practice the Vajrasattva idam track practice. All these different types of things are involved. You can practice performing virtues by practicing generosity, by protecting and saving someone's life, and releasing lives of others. So these are wonderful different methods are there that you can apply after that feeling of regret of your previous act of non-virtue. So that's why it's known as the power of, second one is known as the power of antidote. So the antidote to non-virtue act is applying virtue. There's no other act. This is why, to oppose the karma of evil deeds, the performance of virtues is only its antidote. So it says, there's a quote from Abhidharma, collections of the Abhidharma: to oppose the karma of evil deeds, perform the antidotes. Even if it has been created, the result of non-virtues can be transformed to something else by the power of antidote. So if you apply the power of antidote by practicing the Dhamma, or practicing the Vajrasattva, and recitations of mantras, or engagement in the virtuous act of generosity, saving lives of others, then this is how you can really help yourself to minimize the negative act of the previous, and by the power of the virtuous act of present. Then we have the third power, which is known as resolve, power of resolve. Then next what you should be doing is that you should have this kind of resolution for not repeating the same actions in the future. So that is known as the power of resolve. What is the resolve for that from occurring in the future? And that is the commitment that you are making, that since you know that this is not good at all, and you also feel that this is not good at all, the karma that you did in the past, in the previous time of the non-virtuous act, then you really want to not to repeat this again in your future. That is known as the commitment of not repeating the same actions in the future, and that is known as the power of resolve. So if you have this, then there's a possibility of not occurring that karma in the future again, not occurring involving of that act in the future. Otherwise, okay, I have purified my karma, and if you just leave it there and not be careful for the future, then you'll again make mistake again. So therefore, this third power of resolve is very, very important, and it will save you from cultivations of or commitment of another bad karma in the future. So that's why it's known as the power of resolve. Then next, after that, having that kind of wish not to repeat the same negative act again, then what you need to apply, you need to make yourself busy with the power of reliance, the fourth power of reliance, meaning you can take bodhisattva vows, or you can take refuge vows, and you can really practice the Dhamma. You can attend spiritual masters. So then by the instructions of the spiritual master, they will protect you through their instructions, and you will not repeat the same karma again. And you now know with the reasoning why it is not good to commit non-virtuous act. And you can also see there's the danger of falling into the three lower realms and experiencing all those different types of suffering in three lower realms by committing that non-virtuous act. So this is how it will protect you from redoing or repeating the same negative act in the future. So this is all about purification part. So purification should not be an excuse. It should be the genuine and authentic purification, which can be really felt from your heart, within your heart, and then saying, oh, this is not right, this wasn't right, I should not have done that, kind of regret, and then resolving not to repeat those again, kind of remorse in your act. So if you have these two, then you'll be safe in the future from committing of the another non-virtuous act. Then the next branch is the rejoice in the virtues of others, especially the virtues of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas of the 10 direction in the past, present, and future. Whatever the virtuous act that all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas have, engaged in past, present, and future for the benefit of all sentient beings, you really, rejoice them through your mind or through pure heart. Likewise, you can see good thing happening with your colleagues, with your Dharma practitioner, with your friends, with your relatives. So instead of having jealousy, you really rejoice their good deeds. You really feel comfortable. You really, try to share their happiness. So that is what we should be doing. So if you are able to do so, then that is the antidote to your giving rise to jealousy. Then next branches is the requesting the Buddhas and the spiritual masters to turn the wheel of the Dharma. There are some spiritual masters or some Buddha, even though they have enlightened, but they are not preaching yet because they don't see the perfect vessel of the students yet. So in that regard, we need to supplicate those teachers, supplicate those Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to teach the Dharma, the perfect instructions, the perfect medicine which can heal the suffering of samsara. So there are also many teachers around us. If you do not request them to teach, they will not come to teach you. So this is the traditional way of requesting the teachers to teach the Dharma, and this is also another way of respect to the Dharma. So students should have respect to the Dharma and also supplicate the teachers to teach the Dharma. Otherwise, they will not teach by themselves. So that's why it is important to practice this kind of branch as well. The supplicating the gurus or the bodhisattvas or the Buddhas to teach the Dharma for the benefit of all sentient beings, because we really need the Dharma now. And this is the best medicine ever to heal and to quell the suffering of samsara. There's no other option but the Dharma, the instruction of the Dharma, the loving kindness and compassion, the practice of patience, practice of generosity, practice of tolerance, practice of concentration, practice of wisdom. So they are wonderful teachings, practice of skill in means, which are all very necessary tools in the society, which are very important tools to make this society a better place, make this entire world a better place, and which will bring, happiness for all of these individuals who are now suffering under the karma of their own act of the past. So therefore, it is very, very important that one should really supplicate the gurus or the teachers to teach the Dharma for the benefit of all sentient beings. Then next branch is the beseeching not to take parinirvana. So there are some, spiritual masters who are about to leave this world and go into different world for the benefit of other sentient beings, or this part of the world or another part of the world, or wherever there is necessity, they will go there and benefit sentient beings. So if there are some who are almost to decide to go, then you need to supplicate them, those teachers, to remain in this samsara or remain in this part of the country or world for the benefit of sentient beings. So if you supplicate them, then they will remain, because they will see, oh, there's a need and necessary. So if they do not see need and necessity, they will go to different realm for the benefit of different sentient beings. So therefore, it's also another tradition to supplicate our teachers not to go into parinirvana. That is why we do lots of different types of setu pujas, longevity pujas every year. And we also make kusungtuk offering, body, speech, and mind offering. This represents the supplication or beseeching them not to take into parinirvana, but remain in samsara for the benefit of others. And finally, we have this branch of dedication, which is very, very important. If you dedicate your merit for the benefit of others, then this will become, enormous. This is like putting a cup of water into the ocean. So until and unless ocean dries, that the same water from that your cup will remain in that ocean for a long time. So likewise, if you dedicate your merits for the benefit of others, then it's not your individual now, and it is, if it is your own individual, there's a worry of someone stealing that, or someone's might just obstruct that. But once you have dedicated these virtues for the well-being of all sentient beings, then it is shared by all sentient beings. So there's no worry of losing it, or worry of someone attacking us. So therefore, it is very important to do the dedication prayers every now and then, after involvement of any virtuous act, meritorious act. So these are the preparation part. Then the next is the actual receiving of the Bodhisattva vows. So the actual ceremony expressing the commitment is explained in the collection Transcendent Instructions. When the Arya Manjushri was born as a king Amba, he went into the Buddha Maganandosha and obtained the instructions on the development of aspiration bodhicitta, and took the bodhicitta's vow at the same time. Likewise, we also should take them together. So according to Shantideva's tradition, we take both aspiration bodhicitta and action bodhicitta at the same time. Whereas in the Dharmakirti tradition, they take the aspiration bodhicitta and engage bodhicitta differently or separately. So in our tradition here, we take them together by reciting the verses. So what is the verse that one must recite? After that purification part of practicing of those 6 branches, then one must, recite these verses in the which is mentioned in the engaging in the contact of Bodhisattva by Shantideva. So I'll read this verse. So whenever you have time, especially today, today is the full moon day. So if you have time, it is very good to recite these verses and receive Bodhisattva vows from the Buddha's Dharma and Sangha, or Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in front of you. Imagine them in front of you, or just simply be, do some prostrations, make some offerings, some incense and flowers before your shrine, and then you recite these verses in order to, renew or receive Bodhisattva vows according to Shantideva tradition, both aspirations and engage Bodhisattva at the same time. Just as the previous Sugatas, or the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, gave a birth to an awakened mind, that's bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwelt in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise, for the sake of all the sentient beings, do I give birth to an awakening mind, and likewise I shall too successively flow the practices. So this is the verses that one must recite 3 times. So in order to receive both aspiration bodhicitta and action bodhicitta according to Shantideva tradition. Okay, so translation may be a little different. Many different translators would like to use their own translation, but the meaning is same. What is the meaning of it? Is that just like all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in the past have taken the aspiration bodhicitta and also engage in the cause of happiness of others, that is the practice of 6 paramitas. Likewise, so do I. From today, I will give rise to bodhicitta of aspirations and bodhicitta of action. So this is what it really means by these verses. So if one wishes to cultivate bodhicitta and take the vows separately, so then you should follow the Dharmakirti's tradition. So this is the actual ceremony. Actual ceremony is not that long. It's very simple, and it only takes maybe 2 or 3 minutes. But preparation was very important. You need to prepare yourself. You need to purify all the negative, acts of the past. Because last time, remember, GAMPOPA said that why we need to keep one of the 7 Patimoksha vows in order to cultivate bodhicitta is because bodhicitta is very pure and precious. So if you want to, he has given the example, remember? He said if you want to invite a, kind of guest, a special guest to your house, then first you need to clean your house, make everything perfect, so you'll be able to welcome your guests in a very well manner. Likewise, if you want to invite this precious bodhicitta, which is the heart of all the Buddhas, into your body, speech, and mind, then first what you need to do is you need to prepare yourself. You need to purify all the negative afflictions and emotions of your act of the past. That is why the purification process is very important. Not only that, you need to also accumulate good merits, and in order to do so, we have the practice of offering, remember, and we have also practice of the supplications of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to remain in samsara and teach the Dharma, and also we have this dedication prayer. So these are wonderful preparations that one must apply it. And after that, the receiving of actual bodhicitta vows is very simple. But you should remember, when you recite this, you should you should all recall all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas like Chenrezig, Vajrapani, Manjushri. They have given rise to aspiration bodhicitta. That is the genuine wish to see all sentient beings, happy and cause of happiness, or to bring them into the perfect enlightenment. And then for that cause, they have not only made an aspirations, empty words, but they have already engaged in the good cause of applications of the 6 paramitas, practicing of generosity and so forth, for the benefit of all sentient beings. So that is why it's known as the action bodhicitta. So today, you also making commitment to give rise to this both kind of bodhicitta, just like the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in the past state. Taking them as your role model or example, you want to commit the same thing. So finally, the conclusion of part of the ceremony. Then at the end, make offerings in the appreciations for the three jewels or your spiritual masters. You feel so fortunate now that you have entered into the Mahayana vehicle today, and because of that, you have now become one of the son of the Buddha or the daughter of the Buddha, which is your objective is now to benefit sentient beings and attain perfect and complete enlightenment. So you now becomes one of the Buddhas or Bodhisattvas family. You belong to the Buddha or Bodhisattva's family. So because of that, you really appreciate that, and then you make the dedication, the conclusion prayers by offering appreciations to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and generating happiness and joyfulness within yourself. That from today, I became I belong to the Mahayana family. I belong to the Buddhas and Bodhisattva family from today, because I just took Bodhisattva vows. Likewise, you also invite all the sentient beings, to welcome them as the guests of your practice of 6 paramitas. So they will be your guests to practice your patience. They will be your guests to practice your generosity, and all, they will be guests for your practice of your moral ethic. So you will not kill them, you will not steal their belongings, no, you will never lie to them, all these things. But it is very good start, and it's not that easy. But then you can, in Bodhisattva vow, one very important thing is Bodhisattva vow you can always renew, because it's mental vow, and it's very hard to give, but then it is very beneficial as well. So you later on will know how to repair if you break your Bodhisattva vows. So it's repairable, redoable. So that's very good, that's very fortunate. So you should not hesitate from taking or receiving Bodhisattva vows, because it has so much beneficial effects, and you can always retake them. So this is one good side of taking Bodhisattva vows. Okay, so next is the Dharma Kirti tradition. We'll skip that because we don't have enough time, and we jump to the point topic 8, that is the beneficial effects of receiving Bodhisattva vows. So cultivations of bodhicitta has 2 types of beneficial effects: countable and uncountable. Countable, we can see what kind of beneficial effects can take place within ourselves, and uncountable because it is huge, because our objective is all sentient beings, so we cannot count sentient beings, and our act should be dedicated for their benefits, for their well-being. So therefore, slowly you can make your act as uncountable. But for now, it's countable for now. But as your realizations get more advanced, it can be uncountable as well. The first one, countable benefits. The beneficial effects of cultivating aspiration bodhicitta and beneficial effects of cultivating action bodhicitta. So the two beneficial effects. The first one is the beneficial effect of cultivating aspiration bodhicitta, the countable. So we can count them into fingers, in our fingers. So they are first entering into the Mahayana vehicle. So after receiving the aspiration bodhicitta, that is the demarcation where you really enter into the Mahayana vehicle. That's simple, that's easy. Second is then it becomes the basis. The aspiration bodhicitta will become the basis for all the bodhisattva training, or in other words, if you have taken aspiration bodhicitta, then it is the proper vessel or the vase for cultivating of the action bodhicitta. Then you can practice generosity and all different 6 paramitas ahead. Next is all evil deeds will be uprooted. Since after taking aspiration bodhicitta, what will you do then? Next is you will involve in virtuous act only, right? Remember? So because of that, if you are going to always engage in virtuous act, then obviously your unvirtuous act or evil deeds will be uprooted, just like that. Then next is unsurpassable enlightenment becomes rooted. So if you have uprooted the negative or non-virtuous act, then on the other side, the virtuous act will be rooted, or the enlightenment becomes rooted, because you have planted the seed already. The aspiration bodhicitta is the first plantations of seed for the attainment of complete and perfect Buddhahood. So I use complete and perfect Buddhahoods, that you don't confuse with the statement realizations of nirvana. Remember, we need to free ourselves from the attachment of the blissful state of mind of nirvana. So we need to be free from both samsara and nirvana in order to attain complete and perfect Buddhahood. You should fly without sticking in any of this. With your wisdom, you are not stuck at the samsara, and with your compassion, you are not stuck at the nirvana. So you can fly with these 2 wings of wisdom and compassion. Then we have this next beneficial effect of aspiration bodhicitta is one will obtain limitless merits, obviously, because it's all good, genuine thought. So you have result of merit. And next is all the Buddhas will be pleased. Obviously, Buddha will be pleased by seeing, oh, today some individual has given rise to bodhicitta, has just taken the bodhisattva vows. How wonderful it is. There is another individual human being who is, coming in this path of liberating all sentient beings, which is a wonderful thing to do, because many sentient beings are suffering in the samsara. So if there's one who has taken this responsibility, then obviously Buddhas will be so happy. So please do it. So you should not wait for that. You should make Buddhas happy by developing loving kindness and compassion and generating bodhicitta. One becomes useful to all sentient beings, obviously, because your objective is to benefit all sentient beings. So therefore, you'll be useful now. You will not be harmful. You'll be useful for all sentient beings. So whenever you see sentient beings, you'll be, because of generating aspiration bodhicitta, you have this wish to make them happy, bring them into the cause of happiness. That's why you will be beneficial. Your life will be now beneficial, because you have just, taken bodhisattva vows. And next is one quickly attains the perfect enlightenment. Obviously, and because of bodhisattva entering in the Mahayana vehicle, you are very near to Buddhahood. So therefore, it is quick compared with other vehicles. So these are the beneficial effects of taking the aspirations bodhicitta. So one thing that I want to add is that our mind continuum of sentient beings, the mind continuum of sentient beings like a ground. So when our mind is soaked with the moistures of loving kindness and compassion, And if the seed of the mind of enlightenment, that is the bodhicitta, is planted, then the result, the 37 branches of enlightenment, remember yesterday we spoke about 37 Buddha factors or factors of enlightenment, will grow, and the fruit of the perfect Buddhahood will ripen, and all the peace and happiness of the sentient beings arises. So this is how it takes place. The next is beneficial effect of the action bodhicitta. There are two. One's own beneficial arises continuously, and benefit of other arises in various ways. So there's two benefits, benefit of yourself and benefit of others. So the first one, cultivation of action bodhicitta is unlike the previous one, aspiration bodhicitta, since the continuous force of merit arises constantly, whether one is sleeping, unconscious, lack of awareness, and so forth. So see, once we have received the action bodhicitta, then the merit continues to follow. Even though your acts are not involved in the virtuous act, like you're sleeping, or when you're faint, or when you're in the neutral state of mind, but then the merit will continually follow. So this is wonderful thing, amazing. It is very amazing. And next is the benefit of others variously, meaning the benefiting many different sentient beings, means that the suffering of all sentient beings is dispelled, because you are now engaging, in the real action bodhicitta, and they are established in happiness, because you really work for others. You really practice generosity, compassion, kindness, and patience, all these wonderful things, the real cause for happiness. So you are really implementing these things. That's why you're able to, bring sentient beings into happiness and cut their afflicted emotions. So that is why it is known as the benefit of others with different ways. Then the uncountable effects. The second one, uncountable beneficial effects, means that all the good qualities arise from the time until one becomes Buddha. So it will never, stop. Just after giving rise to bodhicitta, from there until you attain enlightenment, the merit continuously flourish, and the different types of quality will also flourish. As remember yesterday we spoke about the 22 different similes of bodhicitta. We can see how the progress is, how the practice are progressing, and this is all the qualities are progressing at the same time once your practice are progressing. Then the next topic 9, is the disadvantages of losing it. We now know that there are lots of beneficial effects of cultivation of bodhicitta. Then if you lose this, obviously there's a big loss. So that is why it says disadvantages of losing it. So I'm going to read this. There are 3 faults of weakening bodhicitta. Number 1, by the faults of one goes to lower realms. By these faults, one goes to lower realms. By these faults, one fails to benefit others. And by these faults, it takes long time for one to achieve perfect and complete enlightenment. So the reason is, by breaking, commitment, or by breaking your bodhicitta, the commitment that you want to benefit all sentient beings, the commitment that you want to attain perfect and complete Buddhahood, if you break then that is like you are deceiving all sentient beings, because you said you want to bring them into happiness. But if you break this vow, then you are deceiving all sentient beings. And because of that reason, there's a danger of falling into lower realm by deceiving sentient beings. And then on the other hand, not only that, but then not only breaking your bodhisattva vows, but also then if you apply it in the non-virtuous act by killing or stealing, then even worse. And because of that reason, because of that act, by stealing and killing, telling lie, then this act will mature, and then as a consequences, you'll be experiencing the suffering of lower realms. Second is that if you break your bodhisattva vows, then you cannot benefit others. Obviously, you don't have this wish to benefit others. you'll be more self-centered then afterwards. And third is that it will take long time to attain perfect and complete enlightenment, because this is the only nearest way. Mahayana vehicle is the closest way to reach perfect and complete nirvana or enlightenment. So if you once you go away from it, obviously it will take long time for you to attain perfect and complete enlightenment. And next, the topic number 10 is, what is the cause for losing it? So we don't want to lose it. Now we see the disadvantages of losing the bodhicitta, right? So now we now should know what is the cause of losing it, so that we can be careful. We can prepare ourselves of not committing those causes. So the cause is, there are two ways of losing the mind, who has cultivated bodhicitta. And what are those? The cause for losing aspirations and the cause of losing action bodhicitta. So there are two causes. One cause, if you engage, there's a danger of losing aspiration bodhicitta. Another type of cause, if you are engaged, then there's dangers of losing your action bodhicitta. So what are they? The first one consists of forsaking sentient beings, adopting the four unwholesome deeds, and generating the opposite mind, which is disharmonious with virtue. So the first set of cause for losing the aspiration bodhicitta is by forsaking sentient being. That's the main part. If you forsake sentient being, obviously you lose your aspiration bodhicitta. And second is, he says there are unwholesome deeds. So what are the unwholesome deeds? There are four unwholesome deeds, which are the cause of losing your aspiration bodhicitta, and they are deceiving your lama or wealthy people, or someone who has realized high level of realization, wealthy people. Then second is the causing remorse on good deeds. Obviously, we need to develop remorse on the non-virtuous act. But if someone develops remorse on their good deeds, then that's not good, right? So this is the second cause for losing the aspiration bodhicitta. And the third cause of losing bodhicitta is saying improper words about bodhisattvas. And the last type of unwholesome deeds, which is the cause of losing your aspiration bodhicitta, is behaving deceitfully towards sentient being. So these are the four possible causes that will lose your aspiration bodhicitta. Then generating opposite mind, meaning self-center. The bodhicitta way of mind looking to sentient being is like wanting to have the happiness of others or well-being of others. But if you have opposite of that mind, that is self-centered mind. So if you have that, then it will be the cause for losing your aspiration bodhicitta. Okay, the next is the cause for losing the action bodhicitta. What are they? So Bodhisattva Bhumi says there are four types of offenses which cause bodhicitta to be lost in one if one commits them through the heavy afflicting emotions, or mediocre or small evil offenses are merely disgraceful. So there are four different types of offenses. If you apply those four different types of offenses, there's a danger of losing your engaged bodhicitta. So what are they? The first one is praise to self and condemn others. So if you praise to yourself, if you bring the habit of self-cherishing, self-centered idea, the attitude of self-centered, and condemning others, then there's the risk of breaking your action bodhicitta. Second type of offense is not giving goods and dharma teachings to others. So if you're a bodhisattva, you should share your belongings as well as your dharma knowledge. But if you don't do this, then there's a danger of losing cultivation, engaged bodhicitta. The third type of offense is that not forgiving others, even they apologize or even they confess. So if you're a bodhisattva, you need to have an open mind, and you need to have the acceptance of others confess. So if you're able to do so, you can maintain your bodhicitta vows. Otherwise, if you do not forgive others, even they confess, then there's a risk of losing your action bodhicitta. And finally, the fourth offense is abandoning Mahayana vehicle, because if you abandon Mahayana vehicle, then it will take long time for us to attain perfect and complete enlightenment, right? So if you abandon Mahayana vehicle and then give faulty teachings or false teachings which contradicts to Mahayana vehicle, Mahayana teaching, then there's a risk of losing your action bodhicitta. So these are the different types of cause of losing your bodhicitta, both aspirations and engaged bodhicitta. Now the last topic. Finally, once you lose your bodhicitta, once you break your bodhicitta of aspirations and engaged bodhicitta, how can you repair them? First, is this repairable? The answer is yes. This is repairable. So don't worry so much if you have broken your vows, because this is the mental vow. It's very hard to keep. It is invisible and you can't control your thoughts unless you have very deep meditation concentration. Otherwise, it is very easy to lose. So, but having said that, you should always try your best, make your wish, and then try to apply bodhicitta as much as possible. And always be careful of those different causes of losing bodhicitta, and familiarizing yourself with the attitude of loving kindness and compassion. Once you have loving kindness and compassion in yourself, then there's very less risk of breaking these bodhisattva vows. So the last one is the how to repair, the method of repairing the bodhisattva vows. If one lost aspiration bodhicitta, it can be restored by taking the mind again. As simple as it is. If you have lost aspiration bodhicitta, take it again. It's as simple as it is. And the next one is, if you want break or broke the action bodhicitta vow through loss of the mind of aspiration, then it is restored automatically by restoring aspiration bodhicitta. So if you have broken your action bodhicitta just by broken your aspiration bodhicitta, then once you retake aspiration bodhicitta, the action bodhicitta will restore again automatically. As simple as it is. And if one broke the vow through the other causes, then it should be taken again. You can retake again, in the same manner: preparation, actual, and conclusion. 3 process of receiving bodhisattva vows. If through the 4 offenses, if you have broken your vows through the 4 offenses or the 4 unwholesome deeds, then GAMPOPA says here, confession is sufficient. So you confess. You say, oh, I'm so sorry because of my, thick negative afflictions and emotions. I broke my bodhisattva vows. So with that confession, you should have remorse in your act, and then resolved it with your commitment of not breaking them again and retake them. It says here, confession is sufficient when one committed this kind of different act of the cause of losing bodhicitta vows of aspirations and engaged bodhicitta. And there's this quote finally from the 20 precepts, which says, if one loses the vow, one should take it again. If through the mediocre afflictions, emotions, confess in front of 3 bodhisattvas, and all the rest confess in front of one individual. Whether afflicted or not, one's mind should be the witness. So here, it's very important here. Whether it is afflicted or not, your mind is the best witness. No one can read your mind. You are the perfect witness of yourself. See, if you have whatever thoughts comes into your mind, you can know it. You can be the witness of your own thought. So if it is afflicted, then you should say, declare, oh, it is afflicted. I break my bodhisattva vow and I confess with a feeling of guilt and regret. Then you retake them again. So as simple as it is, because this is very beneficial. So you should not hesitate taking, 100,000 times of bodhisattva vows. It is the process of how you really make yourself, enrich your qualities and make yourself comfortable, make yourself the source of loving kindness and compassion, make yourself the protector for all the sentient beings, protecting them from the suffering of samsara. Okay? One should be the best judge of one's own action, because you are the best judge of yourself. This is the 9th chapter dealing with the cultivation of supreme bodhicitta from the jewel ornament of liberation, the wish-fulfilling gems of the noble teachings. So this concludes the teachings on cultivations of bodhicitta. And the next topic is the training in bodhicitta. So now you just received both aspirations bodhicitta and engaged bodhicitta, and next will be what are the trainings then one should train, what are things one should apply. So this next topic, so whenever we have time in the future, we'll try to discuss it, we'll try to share this knowledge, but for now we live here for this time. And since this special month of Sagadawa, we have tried to understand these beautiful instructions of GAMPOPA in the book Jewel Ornament of Liberation. So this is something very fortunate for all of us, the one who is listening, the one who is studying the meaning of this, the one who is trying to apply these teachings into their daily life in a very practical way. So you all are the object of appreciation. You all should be fortunate of yourself by able to put effort in the understanding and practice of the Dharma. So finally, we should make aspirations of this bodhicitta to generate or to give rise to this bodhicitta which have not given rise to. So there's this prayer, awakened mind of bodhicitta is precious. May it arise where it has not arisen. May it not fade where it has already arisen. And may it ever grow and flourish. This is the perfect aspirations of bodhicitta. So I would like to thank you again for listening the teaching and making your time for this teaching, and try to understand the meaning of teaching, and not only understanding the meaning of teaching, try to implement these teachings into your day-to-day life. Be practical, be mindful of your act, and try to bring yourself towards the enlightenment. That is what is known as Pratimoksha. Thank you very much, and we dedicate the merit by sharing this Dharma and listening to this Dharma for the benefit of all sentient beings. So nam de tamje sikba nye toble nye be danam pamje ne kega na che palap towai sibe sole dowa dowarai. Thank you.
Okay, this 15 days we have meditation and reciting mantras and aspiration prayers. And today is the last day. Okay, now first we continue with our practice. Firstly, take a refuge in generating bodhicitta. For that, you visualize that in front of you, the sky, the Guru, and surrounded by Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and countless of deities. In front of that, with your strong devotion and faith, they will take refuge and generate bodhicitta. dāngi jinso jibi insu namangi dōla genji sanji dōbraraishu sanji jidān sogi chonamna janjo barato dani jasunji dāgi jinso jibi sunangi dōla benji sanji dōbraraishu sanji jidan sogi jonana janjo barato dani jasunji dāgi jinso jibi sunangi dōla genji sanji dōbraraishu semje damje dewa dante jodante barajurji dunga dunga ge jodante barajurji dunga me dewa damba mirda warajurji nere jadanye dalave danya jembola ne barajurji senje tamje dewa dante jodante barajurji dunga ge jodante warajurji dunga me dewa damba damenda warajurji nere chadanye danave tanyama jembola ne barajurji senje damje dewa dante jodante barajurji dunga dunga ge jodante warajurji dunga me dewa damba mirda warajurji nere chadanye dalave danyama jembola ne barajurji semje damje dewa dante jodante barajurji dunga dunga ge jodante warajurji dunga me dewa damba dameda warajurji nere chadanye dandave tanyama jembola ne barajurji. Now we meditate. on four immeasurable. That's four immeasurable meditation applied with Tonglen meditation, giving and taking meditation. This meditation they help us to progress our bodhicitta, develop our loving kindness and compassion. Therefore, you visualize that in front of you, that your parents and friends, relatives, someone you love, and all in front of you, surrounded by other countless of mother sentient beings. Then they are all sufferings. This meditation is applied with your breathing. When you breathe in, you visualize that all the mother sentient beings, they are suffering, and the cause of the sufferings come out from their body form of black smoke. That's black smoke with breathe in with your breathing to your body. Then at your heart, there's fire. The fire will burn off the black smoke. To imagine that you are burn off all the mother sentient beings suffering and the cause of the sufferings. And they are all now free from the suffering and the cause of the sufferings. When you breathe out, that time you visualize that from your body, then your virtues and your merits, your happiness all come out from of white smoke, come out with your breathing. Then all dissolve into them. Imagine they are receive your happiness and the cause of happiness. They are forever stay with happiness and the cause of happiness. We meditate this for 5 minutes. now we recite mantras. First, it's Avalokiteshvara's mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum. Therefore, you visualize that instantly yourself is transformed into four-armed Avalokiteshvara. But your speech transforms into the mantra, and your mind transforms into the wisdom of the Avalokiteshvara. Now yourself, Avalokiteshvara, your eye is looking towards to the all sentient beings with love and compassion. With this visualization, we recite the mantras. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Om Mani Omani bema mani 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 Omani bema mani bema mani bema mani bema mani bema mani bema Omani bema the long life journey. Therefore, you visualize that Buddha Amitayu is above your head. The Buddha Amitayu is Sambhogakaya form of the Buddha Amitabha. Now from your heart, there's really light. This light go up and dissolve into the Amitayu's heart. That requires Amitayu to give us the purification and the blessings. Through his love and compassion and aspirations, the radiant light from his body, this light go over the place. Then this light will collect all the blessings, body, speech, mind blessings from all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Then also light will collect the energy of the universe and essence of elements, or collect and dissolve into his long life vase. Then these energies are transformed into the nectar. Then the nectar overflow from his vase, go into your crown, into your body, and purify all the obscurations. Then all the obstacles for the long life, the nectar fill up your body. Imagine that you receive all the blessings of the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and the energy of universe and essence of the elements. Then your body is full of blessing and energy. With this visualization, you recite the long dharani for 7 times. Om Namo Bhagavate Aparimita Ayurjana Sobhine Cita Tejo Rajaya Tathāgataya Arhate Samya Sambuddhaya Teyata Om Bone Bone Mahapone Aparimita Pone Aparimita Pone Jana Sambharo Vasike Om Sarava Samkara Parishuddhi Dharmate Gagana Samungate Sobhava Vishuddhi Mahanaya Parivari Soha Om Namo Bhagavate Aparimita Ayurjana Sobhine Cita Tejo Rajaya Tathāgataya Arahate Samya Sambuddhaya Teyata Om Bone Mahapone Aparimita Pone Aparimita Pone Jana Sambharo Vasite Om Sarava Samkara Parishuddhi Dharmate Gagana Samungate Sobhava Vishuddhi Mahanaya Parivari Soha Om Namo Bhagavate Aparimita Ayurjana Sobhine Samya Sambuddhaya Deyata Pune Pune Mahapu Aparimita Pune Aparimita Pune Jan Sambaro Bhajite Sarava Sankara Parishuddhi Dharamade Gagana Samangade Subhava Vishuddhi Mahanaya Parivari Soha Namo Bhagavate Aparimita Ayurjana Subhine Zitate Zorajaya Tadagataya Arahate Samya Sambuddhaya Deyanta Pune Pune Mahabune Aparimita Pune Aparimita Pune Jana Sambaro Bhajite Sarava Samkara Parishuddhi Dharamate Gangana Samangate Subhava Vishuddhi Mahanaya Parivari Soha Namo Bhagavate Aparimita Ayurjana Subhine Zitate Tadagataya Arahate Samya Sambuddhaya Deyata Pune Pune Mahapune Aparimita Pune Aparimita Pune Jana Sambaro Bhajite Sarava Samkara Parishuddhi Dharamate Gagana Samangate Subhava Vishuddhi Mahanaya Parivari Soha Namo Bhagavate Aparimita Ayurjana Subhine Zitate Rajaya Tadagataya Arahate Samya Sambuddhaya Deyata Pune Pune Mahapune Aparimita Pune Aparimita Pune Jana Sambaro Bhajite Sarava Samkara Parishuddhi Dharamate Gagana Samangate Subhava Vishuddhi Mahana Parivari Soha Namo Bhagavate Aparimita Ayurjana Subhine Zitate Zorajaya Tadagataya Arahate Samya Sambuddhaya Deyata Pune Pune Mahapune Aparimita Pune Aparimita Pune Jana Sambaro Bhajite Sarava Samkara Parishuddhi Dharamate Gagana Samangate Subhava Vishuddhi Mahanaya Parivari Soha. Now we recite Medicine Buddha's long mantra and short mantra. Both we recite 7 times. Therefore, you visualize that from your heart, radiate light. This light go to the pure land of Medicine Buddha's pure land. Then light dissolve to the Medicine Buddha's heart. They request Medicine Buddha to give us the purification and the blessings. through his love and compassion and aspirations, especially he have 12 great aspiration, power of our aspirations. Then nectar flow from his begging bowl. The nectar come in your crown and go into your body, and also nectar go into all the mother sentient beings' crown and body. They purify all the sickness and the cause of the sickness. They fill up the body by nectar. They receive the medicine Buddha's body, speech, mind, blessings. We are all free from the sickness and the cause of the sickness. Om Namo Bhagavate Bhagavate Guru Bendraya Prabharajaya Tathagataaya Arahate Samya Sambuddhaya Teyata Bekante Bekante Maha Bekante Now visualize the Parna Shavari deity in front of you. The nectar flow from the heart body, and you go into your body and purify all the obscurations, all the sickness, cause of the sickness, all the negative energies are purified. Om Pishati Parana Shavari Saravantora Prashamani Sowa Om Pishati Parana Shavari Saravantora Prashamani Sowa Om Pishati Parana Shavari Sararvantora Prashamani Sowa Om Pishati Parana Shavari Sararvantora Prashamani Sowa Om Pishati Parana Shavari Sararvantora Prashamani Sowa Om Pishati Parana Shavari Saravantora Prashamani Sowa Om Pishati Parana Shavari Saravantora Prashamani Sowa Om Pishati Parana Shavari Saravantora Prashamani Now visualize Dorji number Jumma in front of you. Nectar flow from his body. Going to your body that purify all the obscurations, all the sickness and the cause of sickness. All the negative energies are all purified. Nama Tenda Benza Krodaya Holo Holo Dita Dita Benda Benda Hana Hana Amrite Humbe Nama Tenda Benza Krodaya Holo Holo Dita Dita Benda Benda Hana Hana Amrite Hunde Nama Tenda Benza Krodaya Holo Holo Dita Dita Benda Benda Hana Hana Amrite Hunde Nama Tenda Benza Krodaya Holo Holo Dita Dita Benda Benda Hana Hana Amrite Humbe Nama Tenda Benza Krodaya Holo Holo Dita Dita Benda Benda Hana Hana Amrite Humbe Nama Tenda Benza Krodaya Holo Holo Dita Dita Benda Benda Hana Hana Amrite Humbe Nama Tenda Benza Krodaya Holo Holo Dita Dita Benda Benda Hana Hana Amrite Hoy. Now visualize the tall Wesak deity in front of you. the nectar flow from his body going to your body that purify all your obscurations, all the sickness and the cause of a sickness. All your negative energies are all purified. Om Now visualize that 8 medicine Buddha and 16 Bodhisattvas, the countless of medicine deities. Then with your devotion and faith to Christ, then to give us the purification and the blessings. Recite mantra 108 times. Raja Samangate Soa Simje Neba Jinye Ba Nyoto Nele Tajuri Jwe Nena Malu Ba Tato Jungwa Me Paraiso. When we do the aspiration prayers, that very important to think of the meaning of the aspiration prayers. Jide kan so ai jo wa ma juro ro iti je tarai she me te be se jai shi ki je la le se me de so ne do nga ye ni ba ji de kan so jo wa ma ai ju ji ji ta she me ta na se jai jin ke je la me zai da je be nian je ba da da be ren so ge le je ge la ne ba ma ju ji ne be ge re don ta je joy da lo bro ye do som ja do joy da xie jia zai xie ne lai so ba yin li jie gen lai ce wa ma ju li zhen de wa ma li zhai jie be chung xie chou be du nga lai ji ni ba ma li xie jie dan du de ba dang ce ren ne men de jie de ba LAMA quan cho son jie de jie dang kan de jie zhong son me ni du dang lian de lo wa me be de dai jing ngo wa ma la Hoi Manzara Sanje Nawata Yedang Yesu Juwa Tuji Chenpo Dang Kendo Semba Tuji Tunam La Sanje Janse Bami Kuji Kung Teje Manzara Patu Me Ye Deva Jeje Jave Jingante Dane Dene Tebe Jumanta Jeva Jinje Pama Jevaro Dero Jene Nade Jeton Shoy Digi Dagi Melanta Pati Chocho Sanje Jansen Tanje Ge Gemendo Parajinge Lapto So Teya Ta Benza Teya Awa Bodana Ye So Hai Chode Jewa Se Ji Gong CHONYI ZOLA JI RANG DAGI DISAN GESA BAI KONJU SOLA JI BAGO JALAVE TEMBA PEJRAJI GEWA SENJI GUNLANGO DOGIN SANJI TOJRAJI GITA TANJI JIDIDI DAGI JILA MINJIR JIDIVNI DANI SOSOTE TERINI MINYANDO BE CHEDI SAJO NANJOJI Namshi Sepe Jurmanta Dewa Jindo Jijurji Jene Beme Kaji Lele de la Sanji Jancho Tone Jise Do Tube Do Vade Barari Now we do the dedication prayers. Okay, today is the last day prayers here, and this reciting mantras and aspiration prayers all arranged by our Holiness 17 Gamapa, Ujinti Liturgy, with his great compassion and the love, and through the great aspiration, he arranged these prayers, especially for the coronavirus, for the subsided virus. And I think you all should continue to do this reciting mantras and aspirations because they have very special powers, special blessings for this mantra, and also arranged by the 17 Kamapas. And also this medicine Buddha prayers, one of the medicine Buddha prayers is aspiration prayers composed by very venerable Tongpo Rinpoche with his great compassion and kind, loving kindness, and through his great aspiration. Then I think you all should continue this practice. It is very powerful and very beneficial. Now we do our dedication prayers. We dedicate our merits of practicing meditation and generating bodhicittas and reciting mantras, aspiration prayers. By these merits, all benefit all sentient beings. Through these merits, all sentient beings liberate from the sufferings of the enlightenment. Thank you.